Happy Saturday to everybody. Hopefully everybody's having a good start today weekend. Before we get started though, let me know if I'm good in the comment section. Let me know if the audio's good. Let me know if the visual is good. Just give me a thumbs up or just say I'm good in the chat. Also, hit that like button on the way in. Let the algorithm know that we in the building, and the algorithm will let other people know that we also in the building. Shout out to everybody, man. Quick roll call, man. Quick roll call again. Hello, everybody. How you doing? Welcome to Late Night Giants Talk. Big Brother was in the building. Said, yo, Dash, let's go. That's a fact. Let's go. Polar Bear in the building said, year. Luann said, year. Polar Bear says, what expectations we feeling for this D-line? We're going to talk about it tonight. You see the thumbnail. This is a defensive live stream. This is a defensive show. We're going to keep it on the defense. We're going to try our best to keep it on subject, but we definitely going to talk about the defense. Yeah, for sure. We in this long night right now when this dry spell of New York Giants information with everybody being on vacation. But you know how we do, man. We create things to talk about. That's why they call us content creators. Shout out to everybody in the building. Tyrone Hall in the building says salute. Ready for the lowdown. Let's go. Jarius, what's going on, Jarius? How we doing, man? He said, what up, Dash? What's going on, Jarius? Luann says, let's go New York Giants playoffs, baby. That's the goal, man. The goal is the playoffs for sure. Bully Bill said, "Year." Jarius says, "Man, I'm ready for some." Listen, can we hit the fast forward button? Can we hit the fast forward button, please? Jim Simpson said, "Hey, Dash, so ready for my." He says I'm assuming he says NYG. He says MYG. I'll take it. My Giants, your Giants, the New York Giants. We in here. Miguel said, "What up, Dash?" in the chat. My man LT in the building said, "What's up, Giants family? What's going on, everybody?" Miguel also says these Giants looking competitive. Listen, I heard the way that ESPN was talking about them. We definitely got some things to talk about. Lorenzo Pipes in the building. What's going on, Lorenzo? He said, "What's good, Dash?" That name, man. That's a good name. Bully Bill said, "You good? Thank you very much." Vaporizer, what's going on, Vaporizer? How we doing? I appreciate the thumbs up. Thank you for letting me know that I'm good. Thank you for letting me know that I'm good. Luann says, I'm watching Giants in Dallas on NFL Network. Just started. Old game. Talking about the playoffs? That's you talking about the playoff game from 2011? Yeah, no. Playoff game 2007. Shane, new title, scapegoat. We doing that already, huh? We doing that already. Shout out to my man Anthony Cherry in the building. What's going on? Marlon Jackson. Is it the Marlon? He just said Marland Jackson. Is this the Jacksons? We talking about the Jacksons. He said, my guy, Big Dash, one of the best doing that. I appreciate the love and support as always. Deb Ellis is in the building. She's saluting everybody. People showing love to the chat. Old School Giants says, let's go. Shout out to the Old School Giants, man. Giants country for sure. Q Burrow says, what's good, brethren? He said, Harbaugh got these boys pumped up like Carl and LT would say, we're back. We're back, man. We're back. Lorenzo Pipe says, from worst to first, Big Blue Nation is the goal, man. Shout out to everybody, man. Before I get started, you guys know I like to dabble in TV shows, man. Got a big season finale tonight. I don't know how many of you guys out there watch the show from. It's on MGM Plus. If you have not watched that show, I almost said don't watch the show because it's highly addictive, but the season finale is tonight for that. And then last week game, House of the Dragons was fantastic to start off that season too. All right, so now we're done with that. Let's talk about football. Stephen R says, hopefully Knicks trade for a big. I don't know, man. I don't know. I saw the two guys they picked up. I guess. Well, they picked up the guard from France, and they picked up was it a wing? The wing who can shoot pretty much. Or was he a shooting guard? It might be a wing, but it is what it is. Luann says, I work for MGM Casino. Now, MGM Plus, it's on MGM Plus. It's a show called From. It's like a little horror mystery show. It's fantastic. I'm addicted to it. This is season 4, finale tonight, and it's been 4 seasons, and I still don't know what the hell's going on in that show. For those people that watched Lost all those years ago and you didn't know what was going on, it's similar. It's from the same people as Lost, but guess what? They didn't pay for the promo. So we're gonna move along. We're talking New York Giants, man. And let me get to the topics for today. We got a lot to talk about. We're gonna jump right into business. We're already 6 minutes in. Shout out to the over 40 people that are in the building already. Make sure you hit that like button. If you are a New York Giants fan, and you bleed blue, hit that like button. Hit that like button, share the video, share the stream. And normally if you're a New York Giants fan, that means your family is also New York Giants fans. And if they're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you guys go ahead and do that. Log into your family member's account and hit the subscribe button on Big Dash Knows. Let's do that. Shout out to my man Hurst for real in the building. Said hello, Dash. That's his name, Tyler Nichols. Yeah, he can shoot. Yeah, the boy can shoot. The boy can shoot. I like. Well, I was gonna say something. I like the release, but we're gonna keep it PG. Pause on that. Khalil, that's the other one, the guard from France. Yep. So listen. Again, shout out to the Knicks again. World champions for the first time in 53 years. Now they can't say that anymore. We're just the champs now. So that's what it's about. Shout out to Sleazy in the building too. Let me get to the topics for tonight. Again, you saw the thumbnail. And let me know if the music's not too loud. Hopefully it's not too loud. You guys can hear, because sometimes in my ear, the background music I can't hear it at all. Like now I can't hear it at all. Hopefully you guys can hear it. It's coming through. Let me know. Actually, let me know, because I don't want it to be loud on your end and then I can't hear it. I want you guys to be able to have a good experience when it comes, to the show. So let me go ahead and switch it to the talking points. There we go. You can't hear the music? Okay, good. No background music at all? You can hear it now, though. You can hear it now, though. I'm going to turn that down, though. My bad. To me, I had to turn it down because sometimes it's a little bit louder than, I want it to be. So hopefully you guys can hear it now just a little bit. It ain't about the background music, though. But shout out to my son. My son made that beat. Shout out to my son for the beat. You see the first topic, man. We talking about Dennard Wilson. We talking about Dennard Wilson. We finally have somebody that we believe can run a defense. We have somebody we think that can run a defense, and I'm happy about it, man. I'm absolutely happy about it. And I just want to share this graphic real quick that I made earlier today. All right, maybe I need to put down. My man Lorenzo said, "Yes, sir. What's going on?" All right, let me actually turn the comments off just for a bit so we can read this for a second. I still see the comments. Just want to take them off the screen. I appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate that. I thought this was one of his better ones too, man. I told him I needed a beat, man. He whipped this up in like 35 minutes, man. So shout out to him. Les Brown. Is this the Les Brown? I didn't know Les Brown was a Giants fan, but if this is the Les Brown. So now shout out to Les Brown. Giants 17-0. You go. You good to go? I'm assuming you go to go. I'm assuming you mean good to go. He said, yes, this is the Les Brown. That's what's up. All right. So new DC is so happy that Shane Bowen is no longer terrorizing the New York Giants. I'm so happy that we have somebody that knows how to scheme for the player's strengths. And that's what we've been waiting on. So for those that are not familiar with Dennard Wilson, has a background with Harbaugh. Got his first DC job, or he interviewed for the DC job before we hired Shane Bowen. He decided to go to Tennessee with Callahan, so he turned us down. I think he saw the writing on the wall when it came to Dable. He knew that it was pretty much over. And he decided to go to the Titans. That regime ended up getting canned too. So ultimately, he's where he was supposed to be. Back with not even back with the New York Giants, but to the New York Giants, reunited with Harbaugh. And I like the way this guy calls his defense. Now, last year wasn't as successful as his first year in Tennessee. The Tennessee Titans weren't even successful as a whole. But his first year running that defense, they had some pretty good numbers. So let's talk about a defensive scheme. He's multiple, hybrid attacking defense. You see the notes, we can read along. The nickname I saw was Ravens Light. Now, I don't know how much Ravens Light or what they're pretty much basing that on. Do not think, just Wink Leonard. Wink Leonard, good Lord. Wink Martindale right away. Do not think about Wink Martindale right away. But they are calling it a Ravens Light hybrid type of offense. We already know it's 3-4. That's what we run. And you do see some, 2-4-5 or two-man front for the defense as well. So a lot of nickel. No matter what, the New York Giants will be in nickel. You're going to see a lot of 5 cornerbacks or 5 DBs on the field. That's the nickel defense. So I'm happy about that too. You want to see that extra safety, or you want to see that nickel corner on the field for the most part. and then adapts the front coverage to personnel and into the opponent. So we are scheming up this defense for the opponent, and that's what they should do all the time. Last year, I remember playing the Saints, and the quarterback for the Saints pretty much just telling people that the New York Giants don't change anything up. Whatever they're running pre-snap is what they run post-snap. And now you got a guy that can adapt his scheme to the players and also to the team that we're playing against. Some of the play calling style: aggressive, violent, physical, smash mouth culture. In that interview he had with who was that? He was in the car with. But in there he talked about going back to the old Giants and the culture of the New York Giants and stuff like that. Sean O'Hara, he was in the car with Sean O'Hara. They did that little series on Giants.com. So he was in the car with Sean O'Hara, driving around. You know, they drive around the block in the Escalade. And he was just, paying homage to the defense, the Giants defense of old, and trying to get back to that aggressive, violent, physical style, that smash mouth culture. So I love that. Dictates at the line of scrimmage. We see that with the cornerbacks. Even though he plays a lot of zone, it's a zone press. So he allows his cornerbacks to get hands on the receivers. Again, Wink Martindale known for the blitz and the twists and the stunts. He also does twists, simulated pressures, creative blitz as well. Heavy press coverage. Again, we talk zone press. He does shift in the man when he wants to, but we see him heavy zone for the most part. Pre-snap disguises, similar to what Wink did to confuse QBs. Mix of quarters, match, zone man rotation. So quarters is just another word for cover four. That's when you split the field up in fours. You got, your two high safeties, and you got your cornerbacks that cover four. Then zone man rotation. So that's pretty much saying if you start off at man and the receiver runs deep enough into your zone, it becomes your man, that zone man, or that zone match too, also called that. And then so a quote from him: "It's about the players, not the scheme." Love that. Simplicity for fast execution and a total buy-in. Now, when we say it's about the players and not the scheme, last year, and Brian Burns tried to clear this up. What was it? After the Denver game, and it was the same thing that pretty much happened against Dallas, where you're just dropping everybody. Nobody's pressuring the quarterback, and you allow a big play, and they get in the field goal range. And what happened. And we saw Brian Burns walking into the locker room and yelling the same it's the same and then he tried to clean it up a little bit, but we already know what it was. He should not, we should not have been playing in that umbrella defense. We should not have been playing in that prevent defense, and we saw what happened. We need to have some pressure on these quarterbacks, especially when it's a guy to have it play. But aggressive defensive coordinator that we need, coach from good coaching stock, was at Baltimore. Was the man with Callahan at Tennessee. Again, the first year was very good. The second year, they was trash. Let's be honest. They got fired. The whole regime got canned, and then now you see Callahan is here, and also Denard Wilson is here. Other quote was, "We're going to play physical, we're going to play violent, be suffocating, and impose our will." So I'm happy about this. I'm absolutely happy about this. Let me go ahead and take this graphic down. So I'm gonna ask you guys, man. How do you guys feel about Denard Wilson? How do you guys feel about this new DC? I think coming from Shane Bowen to Denard Wilson, it has to be better. It has to be better. I believe it's going to be better. But, Shane Bowen did not set the bar high at all. We're going to get into that too, man. I see my man Twist said Banks is going to be our CB1. He'll lead the team with 5 interceptions. That's a bold claim. He is in the mix, though. He is absolutely in the mix. Let me get to some of these comments, though, man, because you guys kept the comments going. And I wanted to get through that quick graphic since I spent so much time trying to put it together, right? Let me go ahead and share the information that we put together. He said, Tyrone said, "I like both of his points on each bullet." Nah, I appreciate it, man. Shout out to Big Blue Reborn in the building. If you're not subscribed to Big Blue Reborn, make sure you guys go ahead and do that, man. They put out great work. He said, Big Dash knows what?
Big Dash knows what?
Shout out to my son. He says, he said, "Let's go Giants. Denard, my favorite coach addition from Harbaugh." Yeah, man. You know what's crazy? When there were a couple other DCs that they were looking at, and kind of when it was between Denard Wilson and then the guy that was at Denver, but he ended up with the Buffalo Bills. I can't remember his name right now, but that was another guy that people had talked about possibly being, a young up and coming guy. But I like having Denard Wilson because of the pedigree. He is still pretty much fresh, but he has a secondary background, and obviously the New York Giants need to improve in the secondary. And we got guys like Tay Banks, like my man said. You got guys like Holland, like Nubin, like Adebo that got to play better. And even Phillips, they need to play better. And hopefully this guy with his expertise being in the secondary can help these guys as well. But we're going to talk about that a little bit later too. Let's see what else we got going on. Thank you, Bully Bill. I was able to figure it out. Sean O'Hara in the Escalade with the interviews. Stephen R says, I don't see prevent defense down to list. Nah, yeah, exactly. It's not. Prevent defense is not listed. Hopefully it'll never be listed. You know what I mean? So Q Burrow says, look like the Titans are taking good care of the Giants, first in the draft, second in coaching acquirement. I like that word acquirement. Yeah, listen, it's the Tennessee Giants down there for real. Actually, I don't even want to give them that kind of title. Disrespectful at the end of the day. Yeah, Tennessee, Brian Dable brought a lot of Giants with him down there. And obviously, we have them early on in the season. Can't wait to play the Tennessee Titans because that fan base is absolutely nuts. And they talking trash already. And I can't wait to put the pause on the Tennessee Titans. LT Hiller said this defense is going to be great. Twist. Okay, I got that one. Saigai Bry, what's going on, Saigai Bry? He says, anyone else like me who loves Brian Burns, Naaman Edmonds Predator, and Reese Baby Predator? Now, I love that too, man. And shout out to the Giants and the media team for the media day photos. That idea was fire. If you haven't gotten a chance to see some of those pictures, let me go ahead and put here. I have it here. I have some of the shots. The background that I put together. This one right here. I put two pictures together. I got a Brian Burns and a Jackson Dart picture that I was able to edit and put them together. Yo, they did a fantastic job with some of these media photos. Shout out to Brian Burns. Shout out to the whole Giants squad. Shout out to Jackson Dart. You know what? I'm getting older, and the untucked in shirt starting to bother me. And I wouldn't even think that I would be somebody like that where an untucked shirt would bother me. But Jackson Dart's undershirt is bothering me. I'm getting old, man. I'm absolutely getting old. Jim Simpson says, I believe that Denard Wilson is going to make our defense so much better than Shane Blowin. That's a fact. I love the nicknames. Lorenzo says, I believe Wilson. Actually, let me get the comments back up there, too. So, yeah, get the comments back up there. It says, I believe Wilson is the DC we need. I think so, too, man. We needed somebody to be aggressive, and Shane Bowen was not clearly that, not that clearly. We need somebody that was going to make a scheme or build a scheme around the players that we currently had, and obviously the guys that we picked up too. I remember, man, when Denard Wilson first got here, his first interview, he was talking about the importance of Dexter Lawrence, and Dexter Lawrence got traded. And I was just hoping and praying, like a lot of people, that we would end up getting DJ Reader, and we did. And we absolutely did. Shout out to my man Paul in the building. Said anyone is an upgrade from Bowen? Yes. Over Bowen. Yes. Absolutely. Stephen R says, which defensive unit will be the best this season? Interior D-line, edge, linebackers, or secondary? I still think it's going to be the edge room. Those guys are special. Brian Burns is special. Abdul Carter should be special. Kayvon Thibodeau as a rotational guy, first guy off the bench, fantastic. Also, the way they're going to play Arvell Reese, you assume that they're going to get creative with him on certain downs too. So if you want to do a mix of edge and the linebackers, but if I had to pick one, it would be the edge room. The team that the unit that I want to improve the most or play the best is probably going to be the defensive line, man. Those defensive tackles. We got a lot of new players on this defense, man. A lot of new starters. But again, we're going to talk about that in a second too. Jim Leonard, yeah, that's the guy from Denver. Jim Leonard, young up and coming play caller now with the Buffalo Bills. Les Brown says, very bold claim. The competition is real on both sides of the line. Who you talking about? Somebody else's comment, I'm assuming. Wild Child, what's going on? He said, I'm late. What's good? Nah, you ain't too late, man. We only 20 minutes in. We got through the opening. We talked about the defensive coordinator. We got a lot of other people to talk about. And I got a lot more graphics that we're going to get into for sure. Big Blue Doja says Banks might play like a first rounder. Him and Hood could solidify our secondary for years to come. Posting Adebo scares me a lot. All right, man, let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about it. Let me see what else I got going on. And I appreciate the love and support. Comment section is already going crazy. Chat is going crazy. Jay Snow says the secondary is still a big question mark, and is. Yes, it is. And we're gonna talk about that for sure because there's a couple people. Let me switch this. I got a couple people that we need to talk about in regards to who need to step up. You see it as the last topic for tonight's show. So we're gonna talk about the adds and the losses, the additions and subtractions for the New York Giants, and we're gonna go ahead and get to this graphic here, man. Let me go ahead and get the comment off. And again, shout out to everybody already. Make sure you hit that like button. And if I do miss your comment, I do apologize. I'm trying to keep things as smooth as possible. So Denard Wilderness Scout says Denard Wilson gets a clean slate. I'm vibing with him. Let's effing go. Now that's a fact. Clean slate. He's passing out clean slates too. He said it. So a guy like Tay Banks has a chance, depending on how we feel about it. And we'll see what's going on with that. Okay, so let's talk about the right side of the screen. Defensive losses. So and this is not every loss. This is like some of the key losses, guys that contributed, guys that, got snaps. So obviously Bobby O, who I was a fan of Bobby O, man. I was happy when we got him. First year we got him, he was fantastic. And then we saw a steady decline after that. I thought maybe it was a scheme. And that was the main issue. And it could still be. He's a free agent. I'm seeing him. He got a bunch of workout videos he has all over the place. So hopefully he gets picked up somewhere. But Bobby O, gone. When it comes to the defensive line, you got Dexter Lawrence gone. That's the biggest hit of the offseason. Nacho gone. He went back to Tampa Bay. DJ Davidson went down the road to the Commanders. Cornerback Cordell Flott went to the Titans. And again, this is only defense. We're talking about defense. And also Dane Belton. Dane Belton went to the Jets, right? I think he went to the Jets. So those are the losses, man. But look who we replaced these guys with. So when it comes to we still got Micah McFadden. We still got Darius Mursal. Those guys are in rotational roles now. So the middle linebackers that we added. Tremaine Edmonds, check, right? Arvell Reese, 5th overall pick, check. Jack Kelly, the Viltrumite from BYU, added to that linebacker room. I wonder who the odd man out. Mursal, depending on how many linebackers we keep, Mursal might be gone. I think they keep Jack Kelly, man. I like Jack Kelly a lot. He was a captain at BYU, just a solid all-around linebacker. You can use him blitzing off the edge as well. Shows some versatility. I believe he's faster than Mursal too. But I really like Jack Kelly. He's going to be a core special teamer. Maybe he gets some snaps, depending on how Micah McFadden is doing. And as far as I know, Micah McFadden is healthy. He should be good to go come training camp. Now, here we go with the most important part, the defensive line, right? Well, one of the more important parts is his defensive line. Actually, let me get a couple more of these comments before I get to the defensive line. Hold on. Tyrone Hall says, I like Denard Wilson's direction. Hopefully it pays dividends. I hope so too. Big Blue Reborn says he will get the corners playing at a pro level, at an all pro level. I think you're absolutely right. That's not a typo. At a pro level, because right now we weren't playing anywhere near that. Secondary was trash. Tennessee Little Giants. I love it. That's better. Bully Bill says Austin will have better numbers than Wandell. Listen, again, I'm a big Calvin Austin fan, man, and I think he's going to do quite well. And I think a lot of people are going to be surprised because a lot of people are still sleeping on Calvin Austin. As much as I talk about him, and I talk about the guy almost every week, but we're not going to talk about offense. We off offense right now. We're going to keep it on the defense, Bully Bill. Look at me. I'm getting off track already. Jay Snow says Newbin, Holland, Phillips, Banks were what? Were really bad. Were all really bad last year. Listen, man, and they're on the list for people that got to step up. Trust me, it's a whole segment that we're going to talk about guys that need to step up, and show out for sure, or they're going to hit the door. Lorenzo says Wilson is going to hold our defense accountable. Hold our defense accountable. I got you. Ford Expedition says violent. I love it. That means roughing the passer will be allowed once a game to set the tone. Oh, listen, I'm with it, man. You know, but we can't have too many flags. Can't have too many flags. What's going on, Leah Luca? What's going on, Robbie? What's going on, Robbie? How you doing, man? Luann says, Dash, I heard more talk about trading Kayvon. What do you think about this? This is not one of the subjects. When I'm talking about this, they need to go ahead and squash this Kayvon trade talk, man. I spoke about it before. We're past that point of trading Kayvon to me. Because if you trade him, any team that's probably going to trade for him now will probably trade for him at the deadline, and I'd rather see how he looks first before. Because listen, we're not paying anybody. We're not really paying anybody. We got a couple of seasons before we got to pay Jackson Dart, before you got to pay Malik Neighbors. You got enough money to keep this defense together. So let's keep it together. That's where I'm at when it comes to Kayvon Thibodeau. I want to squash the trade talks and just leave that part alone. I definitely want to leave that part alone. Stephen R says, who leads the team in interceptions? Let me know how fast Colton Hood starts. If Colton Hood ends up starting at the beginning of the season, it might be Colton Hood. I would love for it to be Javon Holland. I would love for it to be Paulson Adebo. You might see a linebacker with a couple of interceptions this year too, because Predator and Baby Predator, those some tall guys covering the middle section of the field, so they might be able to be in the right place in the right time to do something. But I'm hoping somebody from the secondary, and I'm hoping it's Colton Hood, man, because he can do something after the interception to take it to the house. The MBSP 33, that's a hell of a name. He says D.O. scares me too. Oh, Paulson Adebo, yeah, it does. He does. Ford Expedition, we are keeping it on the defensive side tonight. I know people are excited. We're gonna talk about the defense. Trust me. Hyde and Neal need to step up, and I see the laughing emoji. You already know what it is. I'm not making a 53, man. Not making the 53. Paul says, I'll take Edmonds over Bobby O all day. Oh, we trust. We about to get into that too, man. We about to get into that. So defensive tackles. We pick up DJ Reader, we pick up Shelby Harris. We drafted Bobby Jamison Travis in the 6th round. I'm happy with those pickups. By the time we got DJ Reader, we were scared to death, thinking that, trying to figure out what was going to happen. Why is it taking so long? We got DJ Reader. We can relax now. We found out that it was about the years, and not the money. Man, he wanted to be able to sit somewhere for a little bit. I don't blame him for that. Guy getting a little bit older. Shelby Harris, 36 years old, solid veteran, still productive. And most likely those two guys are going to be starting. You got Darius Alexander, you got Bobby Jamison Travis, you got Fakey Lotu, you got Sam Roberts, if he can ever get back on the field, because he missed up damn near all the OTAs, all the mini camp. But they said that he should be back for training camp. But I think with the guys that we lost, and obviously Roy Robertson Harris going due to injury right now. But just think about the guys we lost. Dexter Lawrence is 1-on-1. Nacho, replaceable. DJ Davison, I like homegrown talent, but it just wasn't where we needed it to be. Dexter Lawrence gets off the field. DJ Davison comes on. He had a couple of plays where he did good, but for the most part, not very, very productive for the New York Giants. Now, you look at these guys, DJ Reader. I'm not going to compare him 1-to-1 with Dexter Lawrence. That does not make any sense. It's not even a competition. You add DJ Reader and Shelby Harris, again, it doesn't add up to Dexter Lawrence, but you have two guys, you got depth, you got guys that know what they're doing, quality veterans, and at least for the time being, these guys should be able to hold down the fort while we're waiting for a guy like Bobby Jamison Travis, but also a guy like Darius Alexander has to take a step up, and hopefully he takes those steps this year. As far as the cornerbacks go, Colton Hood, Greg Newsome, those are the guys that we added to the secondary that are replacing Cordell Flott as a CB2. One of these guys is starting, in my opinion. Now we know that Tay Banks has taken a liking to this defense, and he has made a couple of plays in the OTAs and minicamp. His hat is in the ring too, but I think ultimately it might be somebody like Greg Newsome. I'm hoping for a guy like Colton Hood, and then we have some depth with Tay Banks. I still can't forgive Tay Banks for some of the stuff that was happening, man. Listen, if he can get his head around, and I think I saw that too. Lorenzo said Tay Banks can be good if he turns his damn head around. He doesn't play that way, man. He plays through the hands of the receiver, man. And that's just what makes him the most comfortable. If they can coach that out of him, then fantastic. But he's been doing that, and that's the way that he plays. He reads the hands of the receiver, plays through the hands of the receiver. And to your point, we see him in position. We saw him in position, but he never gets his head around. And if you got a receiver that has mastered the craft of late hands, he's getting beat every time, and we saw that. So, but hopefully, playing more zone press, getting his hands on the receivers, that's one of his strengths. So hopefully that works out for him. Side Guy Bride says Muasau is history. Listen, man. I went back. I watched 2 games. I went back and watched 2 games from last year. The first 2 games of the season. It was the Commanders game. It was the Dallas game. And I remember because that was a game that Micah McFadden hurt himself on the second series on defense. And the crazy thing about it is, like, Micah McFadden, like, he was out in the second series. He already had like 4 tackles, including tackles on special teams. He had a big stop on the tackle that he got hurt on. And then as soon as they put Darius Muasau in, Zach Ertz cuts him up. Touchdown. Boom. Muasau. Toast. What we going to do about that? All right, then the last of the losses is Dane Belton. Safety again. He went to the Jets. We replaced Dane Belton with, I think, the guys that are better than Dane Belton. Jason Pinnock, for the time he was with the Giants, I feel he played better than Dane Belton. He was a starter. Quality snaps. He's not forced into a starting role right now. But if I'm Tyler Nubin, I'm looking over my shoulder at Jason Pinnock for real. And then Ardarius Washington, man. Ardarius Washington, a sneaky good pickup for the New York Giants. Everything you want. Toughness, check. The man is smaller than Andrew Phillips, man, and plays the nickel spot. Very, very aggressive. We'll try to bring the wood too, man. Pause. So I like what he brings, aggressiveness. But he's also pretty skilled. He was hurt going into last year. He had tore his Achilles, I believe, in minicamp before training camp, and missed a good portion of the season. And if you look at his grades from 2024, the man was like a top 8 safety in a rotational role, but his grades were good enough to be 8th overall grade for Ardarius Washington. And also, Ravens fans were kind of pissed off that they lost him. And if they were pissed off that they lost him, I'm cool with it. So those are the additions. Those are some of the losses. And again, I think we did a good job replacing the losses here. You would say by Tremaine Edmonds, Arvell Reese, Jack Kelly, all upgrades for the middle linebacker room. It's kind of a push when you talk about all of the guys that we added at defensive tackle against Dexter Lawrence. Again, Nacho, respectfully, replaceable. DJ Davidson, replaceable, respectfully. When it comes to the cornerback room, Cordell Flott is a guy that I will not talk bad about. I believe he improved every year that he was here. I was a big fan of Cordell Flott. I will not say anything bad about him. But he's no longer a New York Giant, so it is what it is. But Colton Hood, to me, is a step up of what he can be as far as talent goes. Already a little bit more physical than what Cordell Flott is. And then Greg Newsome is a guy who's trying to find a new place. A former first rounder, has a certain skill set, has a couple of down years, ended up going to Jacksonville last year, did not fit the scheme. And he's here with the New York Giants looking for a clean slate. And we know that Denard Wilson is going to be the guy that does that. So let me get to more of these comments. Q Bro says, I can't wait. The defense give Dakota Fan and Prescott fits the first week of the season. Listen, I can't wait for that first week. Shout out to all the fans that are going to be in the building. Week 1, home opener versus the Dallas Cowboys. I know a lot of people were tired of seeing the Dallas Cowboys first. How do you feel about that now? Matter of fact, do this. If you were one of the people, or some, one of those people that hated the fact that we were playing the Dallas Cowboys as soon as that schedule dropped for week 1, let me know how you felt then. And if it changed, let me know how you feel now about it. Do you still feel the same way, like you hate that matchup for week 1? I'm with it, man. Start me off as a rival. The bully says NAZ with 114 weather is a killer. 114 degrees is horrible. It's absolutely horrible. Lorenzo Pipe says Colton Hood will be defensive rookie of the year. I like that, man. But he got to beat out Arvell Reese to get that title, man. He got to beat out Arvell Reese, man. I would love for a cornerback of the New York Giants to be that good. I'm telling you. Vaporize says, Dash, not sure why, but I got a feeling new Biggie, I'm talking about Bobby Jamison Travis, to be a steal in this draft for defensive tackles. Colton Hood is my favorite draft pick so far. And the Viltrumite, about to be a dog. Yeah, he's a Viltrumite, man. Omni-Man for sure. I agree with you. Bobby Jamison Travis, I did not know who he was. I kid you not. I did not know who he was. I looked at a lot of defensive tackles throughout the entire, well, not just college football, but also during the drafts, during the draft season. Did not know who he was. I took the deep dive the night that we drafted him. Shout out to Bobby Skinner for putting out a film study, a film review on him. Also, Nick Filato was another one to put out a film review on him, and then countless amount of people on YouTube as well, not just Giants content creators that had information on Bobby Jamison Travis. I agree 100%. Nose tackle for sure. I like the fact that he'll have guys like DJ Reader, Shelby Harris in the room with him, that could coach him up, as well as the new defensive coaches as well. But he could be. And we're not going to be depending on him. We're not going to throw him out there to the Wolves. But I do believe that he's going to surprise a lot of people because he has quick feet. He is strong. And he has a knack to getting after the quarterback as well. So another nose tackle that can kind of get after the quarterback. And also wearing the number 97, I believe, too. I'm not going to put that type of weight on his shoulders. But I do think he's going to be a very, very good addition for sure. For sure. Bully Bill says, I want to see Drew Phillips lock down CeeDee Lamb. Listen, and I said this before about Drew Phillips. Anything 15 yards and in front of him, fantastic. 15 yards behind him, he need to work on that a little bit. He need to work on that a little bit. Crossing routes to a certain extent, he got to work on that. CeeDee Lamb got a couple plays on, not just CeeDee Lamb too. Who was it? Is it Noah? No, the guy from the Commanders cooked him up too, man. A couple of plays too, man. We know that he's steady against the run, though. He's not afraid to throw his helmet in there. I like Drew Phillips a lot, but these guys have got to take the next step. Definitely got to take the next step. All right, so knocking helmets off. Y'all guys are crazy. Stephen R says Aveda will make a 60-yard field goal this season. Listen, man, if he ends up being a guy, then fantastic, man. And I think he is. Right now, there's no competition in the room for him. Luann says Banks is a good returner. Yeah, he is. That's probably what's saving him right now, too. That's giving him that extra chance. Playing special teams. I think he is going to be the number one returner, kick returner. Punt return, I think is going to be Calvin Austin. Yeah. Maybe it's Braxton Berrios if he ends up making the squad. I don't know about that. I got him on the bubble right now. Depends on how many receivers we keep, and also depends on, if Malik Neighbors starts the year off on the pup. Again, we're not talking about offense, though. You see how fast we can get sidetracked. Soul Glow, what's going on? Soul Glow 84, that's a hell of a name, man. I know exactly where it's from. For those that know, you know. Just let your soul glow. I think the real prize of defense will be secondary coach Donald D'Alessio. I believe he can bring our secondary back to where it should be. Now, he came from Kansas City. It has a good track record as well. Again, I got the notes, man. How many new coaches do we got? I took some notes down because I'm working on another video. 19 of the 21 coaches that we have are brand new. The only guys that held over were Charlie Bullen and Tim Kelly, tight ends coach, outside linebackers coach. We got 19 new coaches, man. 19 new coaches, man. Shout out to all those guys, man. I think Harbaugh put together a fantastic staff, and we'll see what happens once we out there. Stephen R says, didn't Banks get picks in zone coverage? He can read the ball better when looking at the quarterback off. I thought so too, man. When Wink left and we went to Shane Bowen and it was zone, it was like, his main problem is getting his head around. Well, if he's playing zone, he's not going to be trailing much, right? He's going to be his own. He's going to be able to look at the quarterback and stuff. It didn't help. I thought, his zone, it should be easy. Nope, it didn't help. I don't know what it is. Hopefully, the zone press scheme it works better for him. Like I said, it's not what Wink ran, but it is aggressive, and I think that'll work in his favor. Listen, he has all of training camp. He's going to play a lot in preseason as well. He has a chance to to earn that CB2 spot, but we'll see what happens when it comes to that though. He says the Sleazy says expect for his run defense. Oh, he's talking about except for his run defense. Talking about listen, last year was horrible. The year before that was good. The year before that, last year was horrible. Defense fell off a cliff for the Tennessee Titans last year. That first year, he put up numbers, especially in the run defensive game too. So, listen, we'll see what happens. Anthony Cherry says, "Big Dash, I'm sick of it." What you sick of? What you sick of? Let me know. Addition by subtraction. Let me turn this down a little bit because now it's loud in my ears. I'm gonna turn it down a little bit. Let's get back to these comments. All right, so want to switch it. We're gonna move along, man. Again, shout out to the 100 people in the building. Make sure you hit that like button. Shout out to my people watching on Facebook too, man. It's most likely Ricky over there from Facebook. Shout out to my man Ricky over there. I don't know who the second person is, but the first person is probably Ricky over there. Let's see. Don Devine says just made it in the building. What up, Dash? What's going on, Don Devine? I'm chilling, man. We talking about the defense. This is a defensive episode. And again, shout out to everybody in the building. Shout out to my man Born for Sports in the building. Another fantastic Giants. Not again, I always got to correct myself. Not just a New York Giants content creator, but a New York sports content creator. Born for Sports. He says, salute Dash. Can't wait to see this front seven cause havoc. The Reese Edmonds tandem give me Willis and Bowman. Ooh, 2.0 vibes. I like that. Hood my CB2. Just a matter of time. Go Big Blue. I think it is. I think that's absolutely true. It's just a matter of time before Colton Hood is a starter. It's just a matter of time. They drafted him in the second round for a reason. It is what it is. Paul says, I hate any divisional matchup week one with limited practices and the preseason gutted. It is essentially a preseason game, and the loser is already 0-1 in the division. Ridiculous. Again, a lot of people feel that way. I'm glad you kept it. I'm glad you kept it real. Because some people, I know a lot of people felt that way, not for the same reasons that you just listed here. And these are fantastic reasons. But it was also just, fatigue. They're tired of seeing it. Yeah, what was it, like 8 times in 15 years or something like that the New York Giants opened up against the Cowboys? At least we got a home game this time. Listen, I'm excited too because if they're going to be tough, if it's going to be that, if it's like a preseason game for us, maybe it's a preseason game for them too. The one thing I like about Harbaugh, though, he plays his starters in the preseason. And these guys, like he always said, they're going to be prepared. And for the first time in a long time, since Tom Coughlin was in the building, we're going to see a prepared New York Giants team. Prepared for all 4 quarters, man. A lot of people came in here and said that. They got to the podium and talked that, tried to preach it, and it didn't it didn't live up to that hype or to those statements that were made, and now it is what it is. Les Brown says people will underestimate the Giants on defense until we play some ball. Not true. Some people, no matter what, man. And shout out to my man Joe Ferris. I don't know if he's in the building right now, but Joe Ferris is one of those guys. He got to see it to believe it, man. For me, I'm a little bit optimistic. You guys have been following me for a while. You guys know I go through cycles every season, man. This is around the time where I start to hype myself up. And then once training camp goes, I fall into the hype of all the stories. The beat writers are writing their reports and stuff like that. And I get a little bit excited. And then week 1 happens and I'm let down. Not this year, man. Hopefully Harbaugh changes all that, man. That's what I'm hoping for. Bookend tackles in the building. What's going on? What's going on, my man? Bookend in the building. Miguel Franco says James Conner for running back depth. You got him and you got Najee Harris out there still. James Conner, I think, coming off an injury though. I like James Conner too. Also like Najee Harris. Don't know what the deal is with Najee Harris. I know he had an issue where was like a firecracker eye issue or something like that. And then he just had a down season, and then he got hurt too. But James Conner, another guy, got hurt. But we'll see, man. Was it Damon Bankston? I saw the interviews that John Schmuck put out there with all the running backs. Again, Scatterbull is out here. Tyrone Tracy, I think, is going to have a fantastic season. Devin Singletary as a third running back is great depth to me. So, and shout out to my man Tim, man. Tim from Online Giants. He keeps pushing it, man. He keeps talking about the running back room. and why people aren't talking about the running back room more. He sees it as a big problem. And for me, I disagree, man. I told him that too. He knows that I disagree with that statement. I like the running back room. I think that Tyrone Tracy is a solid second man up. Obviously, Scatterboo being the guy that's going to lead things off is fantastic. And I said it, and again, we're talking about the offense. I don't want to talk about the offense that much. But I just think about this, the way you wear down a defense in this running back by committee. You start off with Cam Scatterboo, who runs physically, and you run him, and then you let Tyrone Tracy finish out these games, man, with a mixture of Cam Scatterboo too. And then you got Devin Singletary coming in to spell both of these guys, man. I like this running back room. Les Brown says, we got some mean trees on both sides of the ball. We do. Mean trees is hilarious. I know what you mean, too, so that makes it even more funny. Or funnier, I should say. But, yeah, mean trees is hilarious. Stephen R. says, week 1 is a preseason game for Joe Judge, but we got hardball. They'll be ready now. That's what I was saying, too. Paul says, we all fall into the hype, Big Dash. It wouldn't be true. It wouldn't be a true fan otherwise. Now, that's a fact. I want to get to this next thing. I want to talk about starters, man. And I kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, Pauls. The New York Giants are going to have 5 to 6 new starters. Depending on what happens in the secondary with CB2, the New York Giants are going to have 5 to 6 new starters. You guys see I got 7 guys listed here because I don't know between Colton Hood or Greg Newsome. That at the time that I made this graphic, that's what I was thinking. Obviously, Tay Banks has a shot, possibly. But we'll see what happens. Last year, starting middle linebackers. Again, once Micah McFadden went down, starting middle linebackers were Bobby O and Darius Muasau. You go from those guys to Trey Edmonds and Arvell Reese. Yeah, better. And that was the main thing too, man. I saw some people talking about not just beat writers, not just news people, but also content creators and also, Giants fans and also people that are not Giants fans. And they're not sure whether or not the New York Giants defense is better right now, at least on paper. And we're going to talk about that because I do believe the New York Giants got better, even with the loss of Dexter Lawrence. The New York Giants, in my opinion, on defense got better in a few different areas, especially in the front seven. The front seven has 5 new starters this year. Front seven, 5 new starters. Okay, so former starters. Bobby O, Darius Muasau, linebacker. Definitely Tremaine Edmonds and Arvell Reese are absolute upgrades from those guys. When it comes to the defensive tackle, Dexter Lawrence, Nacho, Roy Robinson Harris are those guys that we had as pretty much primary starters last year. So you go from, obviously, the big loss to Dexter Lawrence. So now you're looking at DJ Reader, Shelby Harris, and now Darius Alexander. So that's my penciled-in defensive front when we have that 3-man front for the New York Giants. Not anything hybrid, because I think at some point in time you're going to see Chauncey Golston. You're going to see possibly Kayvon Thibodeau with his hands in the dirt too. But for me right now, I got those 2 guys, DJ Reader, Shelby Harris, Darius Alexander as your 3-man front when it comes to the Giants. Now, Dexter Lawrence, again, is Dexter Lawrence. But the combination of what we had last year with Nacho and Roy Robinson Harris, you switch that to DJ Reader, Shelby Harris, and Darius Alexander. I like that. And there's a reason why I like that too, because hold on, I got another graphic for you guys. So right now, right? So this was the defense last year. This was our starting defensive front. And I do see the super chat. Let me get to that. Moist No Drip. He says, how do White feel about the Jonathan Taylor to the Steelers? I didn't even hear about that. Where did you hear that? And that would be a fantastic pickup for the Steelers. But my next question would be, what the hell did they give up to get a Jonathan Taylor? Because you definitely gotta give up a lot to get Jonathan Taylor. That's a hell of a rumor. And I haven't, guess what? If she's watching right now, she didn't tell me about it. Maybe she didn't hear about it either, but now she did. And I will definitely get that update for you guys. Because if the Steelers did pick up somebody like Jonathan Taylor, again, first of all, would be who they traded for him or what they gave up to get him. That would be a fantastic pickup for them. And you know what? They're chasing the Super Bowl window with Aaron Rodgers. They brought him back. But you see this, right? This is the starting defensive line for the New York Giants last year. And these are the grades. Again, PFF, you can, take it with a grain of salt. But this is what they graded out to be. Roy Robinson Harris, 51.8 overall. Okay. Pass rush grade 56.8, run defense 50.7. It is what it is. I hate to talk about him because he's still a New York Giant, but this is what the grades were last year. 25 total tackles, 7 assists. All right, you look at Dexter Lawrence last year in a down year for Dexter Lawrence. Overall grade 75.6. Again, that's a good grade for a lot of defensive tackles, but that's a down year for Dexter Lawrence. You look at the pass rush grade, 84.5. We know that he can push the pocket. We know he can get pressure on quarterbacks. And then his run defense surprised the hell out of me because we know once Dexter Lawrence is not on the field, we can't stop the run. But guess what? Last year he was on the field. We couldn't stop the run anyway. 57.0 run defense grade, 22 total tackles, 0 sacks. Did he hit? I could have swore so. No, we didn't see the sexy Dexy. And the one time we saw the sexy Dexy, it was a penalty. I think they might be wrong on that. I thought Dexter Lawrence had at least 1 sack last year, so they might be wrong on that. 12 assists. 0 forced fumbles. Nacho, 51.2 overall grade. Pass rush grade, not bad, 65.1. Run defensive grade, you see it, the bottom of the bottoms of the bottoms. But he did have 11 solo tackles, 3 sacks. Let me move this comment section real quick. 6 assists. So shout out to Nacho for getting 3 sacks last year. But that's the old line, right? That's the old line. I'm going to throw up the new defensive line. Let me get my picture ready. I got to get my graphics up. So now this is the proposed, new starting defensive line for the New York Giants. You got Shelby Harris, DJ Reader, Darius Alexander. So now, remember, what was the main complaint last year? He had a half sack. That's what it was. It was a half sack. Okay. But yeah, man, look. Last year we complained about run defense. We just saw everybody from last year, their run defensive grade was damn near everybody in the 50s. Everybody in the 50s. And we're not talking about a big leap either, man. And Darius Alexander, these grades are horrible. But let's look at this, right? So you got Shelby Harris, 61.9 overall grade, already better than both Nacho and Roy Robertson Harris. Pass rush grade, 60.8. That's pretty decent for a tackle. Run defensive grade 64.4. You see him already in the green. Loving that. Ranked 28th of, 134 defensive tackles. Okay. Run defense. DJ Reader, again, we talking about a true nose tackle, the second highest double team rate outside of Dexter Lawrence, behind Dexter Lawrence. Overall grade 68.9. Again, already better than Roy Robertson Harris, better than Nacho, and also a real nose tackle, kind of like Dexter Lawrence was. Pass rush grade 72.6, which is actually very, very good for a guy like DJ Reader to be a nose tackle and can give you that kind of rush for against the quarterback. Ranked 21st at 134 defensive tackles last year. Fantastic. And his run defensive grade lower than I expected it to be, but still decent and better than both Nacho, Dexter, and Roy Robertson Harris last year. And then Darius Alexander, again, this is the project right here, Darius Alexander. This is a big year for Darius Alexander. I'm hoping for better numbers. I expected his grades to be a little bit better. 42.9 overall grade is shocking to me. Absolutely shocking to me. Pass rush grade 54.9. It should be better because he did get pressure a little bit later on. You see he had 4 sacks total last year. And then this 30.3 run for a defensive tackle, known for being a good run defender in college, for him to put up a 30.3 grade, that's hard, man. Pause. That's not good at all. But again, before I knew these grades, and out just me watching games and me watching the tape, Darius Alexander flashed here and there, and I did not expect his grades to be that low. So I'm gonna take these grades with a grain of salt, like I tell everybody. But Darius Alexander right now penciled in started to me. We'll see what happens. In a hybrid look, you're probably going to just see Shelby Harris and DJ Reader. In other hybrid looks, you might see Kayvon Thibodeau, Chauncey Golson also hand in the dirt and stuff like that. NASCAR package, you might see something like that. Somebody's coming off the field in that scenario. But he has to step up this year. Absolutely has to step up this year. 100%. 100%. Let's get there. Go ahead and fix that for a second. Gangstar says, let me get back to here. Gangstar says DA needs to improve ASAP. Now he does. He absolutely does, man. For me, I think we've been chasing Leonard Williams since we traded Leonard Williams, right? And when we got Darius Alexander, what was that? That's a third round for him. He was a third rounder. He kind of fit that mold as far as his measurables, 6'4", 6'3", 6'4", 310 pounds, similar to what Leonard Williams, long arms, similar to Leonard Williams, has good hands, decent feet. We expected him to do a little bit more. Obviously, they held him out early on. He didn't get a lot of run early on, but when he finally got in there, because that's what the defensive coach said, he said, we'll put him in there when he's ready. Andre Patterson, we'll put him in there when he's ready. Remember when it was like 4 games in, they were like, when are we going to see Darius Alexander? We'll put him in when he's ready. Funny enough, that next game they put him in and he made some plays. But now we got to figure out what's going on. So now, moving along, man, and shout out to the 99 people in the building. Make sure you hit the like button. Now we're going to move on to upgraded linebackers. So I'm going to put a side-by-side up of Bobby Okereke and Tremaine Edmunds. So let me go ahead and make some room in this section so I can get this graphic up. I got a couple of graphics I'm going to put up for these two guys, man. Let me go ahead and move this out the way. Move that out the way. And let me get these images put up. So now we're talking about Bobby Okereke and Tremaine Edmunds. Now, Tremaine Edmunds, first time in I believe his career that he didn't have over 100 tackles, but he did miss out a couple of games last year. Significantly less snaps played than Bobby Okereke. Bobby Okereke had over 1,000 snaps last year. Over 1,000 snaps, played almost 90% of the Giants snaps, over 90% of the Giants snaps, if I'm being honest. Now let's talk about overall grade. Overall grade for Bobby Okereke, 56.7. Run defense, 46.2. We remember that. We remember him missing tackles. We remember him getting his tackles broken. We remember him not being anywhere, found near the ball. We saw a lot of that. Absolute fall off. Pass rush grade 65.5, coverage grade 65.2. He did have back-to-back interceptions and back-to-back games towards the end of the season. But just look at the difference. Again, the main weakness, the main complaint for the New York Giants fans and the Giants was their run defense. You go from a guy that had a run defensive grade of 46.2 to one of the better middle linebackers when it comes to run defense in the league, and Tremaine Edmunds. And again, Tremaine Edmunds is not like he's a former Pro Bowler, but he's not some all-pro type defender. But he's absolutely what the New York Giants need right now as far as a Mike linebacker and a guy that's going to be super aggressive and better in the run defense. So again, overall grade 66.2, not what you want to see really, especially for a guy that you're paying in this new regime. But he has other qualities. Run defensive grade 80.8. That's fantastic, man. That's off the charts, man. 17th, ranked 17th out of 88 linebackers. Pass rush grade 58.1. Again, he's a downhill guy. Stop the run. Coverage grade 52.1. Even though he did have, I think he had 2 interceptions. He's known for getting a couple of interceptions, a couple turnovers, man. So I thought his coverage grade would be a little bit better than that, but it's not. But again, we're talking about a middle linebacker at the end of the day. The tackles, again, Bobby Okereke had over 1,000 snaps. I think Tremaine Edmunds had about 800 snaps last year dealing with his injury. Still had 85 tackles. Bobby Okereke got him beat with 103 tackles. Beat Bobby O in sacks. In assists, Bobby O got him beat. Forced fumbles, they both got 0. So that's one thing, right? Now let's dig a little bit deeper. Pause. Let's dig a little bit deeper, and let's talk about these guys on another level, right? So now we got the solo tackles here, this, that, and the third, right? Missed tackles. We got Bobby Okereke, 21 missed tackles, and I believe we remember every one of those. We remember every one of those missed tackles by Bobby O. It was like magnified. That's one thing. Missed tackles for Edmunds, 11. I love that. Around the same amount of stops, 47 versus 42. But then you look at like coverage snaps. So here it is right here. You see Bobby O total snaps, 1,100 total snaps. And then for Tremaine Edmonds, 813 snaps. So significantly less snaps, but still had similar production, if not more production, especially in the run game, than Bobby O. So for me, I'm sitting here like absolute upgrade. Happy that we went ahead and got Tremaine Edmonds. I'm not expecting the world from him, but I'm expecting this New York Giants to be exactly what we need them to be, is better against the run. Q Burrow Brother says, I can't understand how you can deal with that heat wave in Arizona. I visited Tucson back in the 90s and haven't recovered yet. Talking about a steam room on the surface of the sun. Incredible. Listen, stay in the house. That's all you got to do. My man Douglas Wright says, good Saturday dash in chat. I don't know about y'all. I'm getting past life trauma. We sat up here claiming that this is a possible top 10 defense. I don't want to hear anything about Bowen. We did say that, man. We talked about the potential last year of being a top 10, top 5 defense at our best. And we was trash, man. We was at the bottom of the bottoms. At the bottom of the bottom, trash. But I do believe a lot of that had to do with Shane Bowen, because we were in a lot of games and the defense held up for the most part. It was just collapse after collapse. Collapsed after collapse, man. But Shane Bowen, again, no longer in the building. These guys, there's no excuses. These guys got to be better. There's no high bar set either. No high bar set. Can we get there? Hopefully. Stephen R. says, Nubin, Kayvon, Deontay Banks, Drew Phillips. Who do you think makes the shocking leap in progress that is looked at as a potential bust pick? So, yeah, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that. Nubin, Kayvon, Deontay Banks, Drew Phillips. I need, out of this group of names right here, I'm going to pick Nubin. I'm going to pick Nubin out of this group of names. Again, you only gave me Nubin, Kayvon, Deontay Banks, Drew Phillips. If I'm picking between those guys, because we saw Kayvon flash, we kind of got an idea of what he can be at full potential if he can ever get there, really, in a consistent basis. Kayvon, if Kayvon can give us, out of 17 games, if he can give us 10 games like the Washington game from his rookie season, fantastic. We'll see what happens with that. Drew Phillips was already better than I thought he was going to be coming out of college. He was similar to like Bobby Jamison Travis coming out of college. I really didn't know who Drew Phillips was for the most part. But he also flashed, had a good rookie season. Deontay Banks is on the outside looking in for me. And I do think that people are considering him a bust, even though we say that he could be a good returner. That's one thing. We didn't draft him to be a returner. But Tyler Nubin, and I think you put Tyler Nubin on that list first because you feel the same way. Nubin is going to be that guy that I believe takes a shocking leap, because I think he still can be the same guy that I saw at Minnesota coming out of college, best safety in the draft, lost in the sauce now, better defensive scheme, better defensive play caller. You're going to see 2 high safeties because that's what Denard Wilson likes to run. You're going to see some quarters. You're going to put him in position to make plays. And I think that because Denard Wilson is in the building, it's definitely going to be somebody in the secondary that makes that leap that we think was going to be a bust. I am hoping that is Tyler Nubin at the end of the day. That's what I'm hoping for. Shout out to my man Anthony Cherry with the $2 super chat. No comment, just a $2 super chat. Appreciate the love, support as always. Anthony Cherry says Tremaine Edmonds has been consistent every year. He has, and that's what we need. I would love for everybody to be lights out, but sometimes consistency, somebody that's boring out there, just does his job, kind of like how Andrew Thomas is, fantastic tackle, but when you watch him, he just does his job at a high level, and it's almost boring to watch. You almost expect him to be a shutdown tackle, and that's what he is. He shuts people down. Well, Tremaine Edmonds, if he can be consistent, that's what the New York Giants absolutely need. It's consistency. Can we do that? Can we get consistent linebacker play? And hopefully that does that. And then Arvell Reese, a fantastic player to learn from when I think about Tremaine Edmonds in that room with Arvell Reese. You want Arvell Reese. Obviously, he's way more dynamic than Tremaine Edmonds as far as physical, just physically. Just outstanding athlete. And Tremaine Edmonds is a fantastic athlete too. But Arvell Reese, Arvell Reese has monster ability. He can be an absolute monster, and then you pair him up with a guy that's consistent, like my man said, consistent, but also does the things the right way. You know, surprising amount of interceptions for Tremaine Edmonds. You hope for that for Arvell Reese. Downhill run stopper. You hope for that with Arvell Reese, but Arvell Reese has just another gear, and depending on how Denard Wilson does, again, early first and second down, playing off ball, third down, depending on the down and distance, blitzing somebody like Arvell Reese. We'll see what happens. And we already saw news that Arvell Reese looks good in coverage against running backs, and that's pretty much what we're going to ask him to do. So a Sam linebacker like Arvell Reese is going to be. I'm glad that he has Tremaine Edmonds in the building as well. Kiwa Sosa, what's going on? He says Micah McFadden. He didn't give me any explanation. He didn't give me any other comment except for the name Micah McFadden. So I'm gonna run with it a little bit. I'm a fan of Micah McFadden. I thought last year was going to be a good year for him. The season ended before it started for him. But again, even in that first game against the Commanders, the man had 4 tackles before he left the game, and he didn't play more than 2 series. He didn't play more. He played 2 series, and he had 4 tackles already. And again, when he got hurt, that was on, he broke his foot tackling. I believe that was a QB scramble for Jaden Daniels. It might have been a running back play too, but he hurt himself. But he made the tackle, and he tried to get up and realized that his foot was freaking broke. And then we didn't see him again for the rest of the season. But I'm a fan of Micah McFadden. So now you think about it, you got your starters are Arvell Reese, Tremaine Edmonds, and then you got somebody like Micah McFadden coming off the bench in a rotational role who can also start for some teams. So I like this running back room. I'm sorry, I like this middle linebacker room. And then you add Jack Kelly to that linebacker room too. One of the most improved, if not the most improved, positional group on the New York Giants, in my opinion. Jim Simpson says middle linebacker room will be a big upgrade. No, that's a fact. Already. Just think about the guy that's on the bubble is Darius Mousau, and he played a lot of snaps last year. He was forced to play, but he got quality snaps, man. So even him in a rotational role too is better. But again, your starters are Predator and Baby Predator. Well, Micah McFadden, and Micah McFadden should be outstanding in special teams along with Jack Kelly. So I'm happy about that. Luann says, I want another top linebacker. What? You want another linebacker in the draft? We're not doing that. We're not doing that. Unless you're talking about an edge outside linebacker. I think with what you did, because we have Edmonds got a 3-year deal or 2-year deal. I think Edmonds got a 3-year deal. So he's going to be here for a while. Arvell Reese is going to be here for a while. Now, here's the thing, though. If you're looking towards the future, right? And let's just say whatever happens with Kayvon Thibodeau happens with Kayvon Thibodeau. We get through the 2026 season. Maybe we can't afford him and we move on. Then maybe you think about getting another linebacker because possibly Arvell Reese is making that shift. But I still don't think that's going to happen either. So we'll see what happens. But not at the top of the draft, though, Luann. I can't see a linebacker at the top of the draft. Like if you want to go middle rounds, late round, day 3 with another linebacker spot, then cool. Because we need some offensive line help. That trumps linebacker right now, in my opinion. We need to figure out what JMS is. We got to find a replacement for John Runyon. The wide receiver room is going to need a lot of help. We got a lot of people on 1-year deals in the wide receiver room, so we got to figure out the future of the wide receiver room too. And obviously that the wide receiver class next year, fantastic class. But yeah, we got a lot of things that we need to think about before, in my opinion. And you might be absolutely right, Luann, but in my opinion, I can't even think about a middle linebacker in the top of the draft. And let me know, Luann, you talking first? When you say top of the draft, you talking first round, second round, or are you talking? I'm assuming you say top of the draft. That's first round, second round to me. So let me know what you're thinking. Luann also agree we need another. We do. And that's a funny thing because a lot of people ain't thinking about that. But I like to be proactive instead of reactive. And you definitely got to have an eye out on some of the wide receivers coming out next year too. MP Jones, what's going on? He says you're only as strong as your weakest link. I fear cornerback room will be a problem. Listen, Right now, it is. The track record from last year, Paulson Adebo, question mark. Tay Banks, question mark. Javon Holland, question mark. You know, Drew Phillips, question mark. Tyler Newman, question mark. So with that being said, let me get to this graphic too. This gonna be that last graphic, and then we're gonna chat for the rest of the stream, of the live of the show. So returning players that need to step up. I couldn't think of like a fancy title, so I just put exactly what's on my mind and exactly what I want to get across, my point that I want to get across. And listen, it might be more players in this. So, and you guys see the list that I have of returning players that need to step up. Again, this is defense. We're talking about defense. Let me know who I missed. Let me know if you guys agree in the comment section when I talk about guys that need to step up in 2026 on the defensive side of the ball. Let me know. The MBSP 33 says, crazy game, I think, crazy take. I think Ardarius Washington will come in and win the safety spot. There's a lot of versatility when it comes to Ardarius Washington. He can play safety, but he can also play the nickel spot. When we got a three safety look on defense, I think Ardarius Washington is going to be that guy. Him flat out beating Tyler Nubin, because we'll just say Tyler Nubin, because a lot of people with the money that we're paying Javon Holland and expectations for Javon Holland, again, you see him number one on my list of people that need to step up. I'm assuming you're on the same. You're trying to say the same thing as me, where Tyler Nubin, right? Ardarius Washington might come in here and take Tyler Nubin's spot. Now, he's still early in his career. You know, he had 1 year where he flashed, and then another year where we absolutely are done with him now. A lot of people are absolutely done with Tyler Nubin. I'm giving him this year. To prove or to hope that he can be the guy that we thought he was going to be. But with that being said, he doesn't have a long leash. I think any of these guys, just look at this list. None of these, there's not a long leash for these guys, because there's guys that are sitting behind them that are going to be hungry, and guys that can actually play quality snaps. Let me see what my man Douglas Wright said. He says exactly what I'm saying, Dash. Those boys need to get their muscle up and right this ship. I'm about to make some folks upset, but Tibbs, AC are giving me Chase and Clowney vibes. Don't say that. Doug, don't say that, Mr. Doug. Come on, man. They're giving you Chase and Clowney vibes. Clowney, a career journeyman now. Chase looking like he's going to be the next guy following in those Clowney. I hate that you said that too, Doug. I hate that you said that, man, because I didn't want to think about that. I wasn't thinking about that. But just listen, I can't even talk about Abdul Carter yet. Let's just talk about Tibbs. Could Tibbs be on that road or on that runway that Chase was, and then Clowney? First off, remember, it was a Chase Bowl. Chase was the hottest name coming out of college when Chase came out. And then obviously what happened with the Commanders. Clowney, another guy, one of the hottest names coming out. I still remember the game against Michigan, that Michigan quarterback, the play that he made, put him on the map, whatever. But again, a journeyman. I think Tibbs might be close to that right now, just because we haven't seen that production. Haven't seen that production yet. So for me, Tibbs has to step it up. I left Thibodeaux off of this list because last year I started to see him play better. He was playing better than we've seen him play. Solid against the run, best edge setting outside linebacker, and he was holding off Abdul Carter last year. So I left him off the list for that reason. But yeah, I hope not, man. I hope not. Now, when it comes to Abdul Carter, it's just way too soon. We saw once Tibbs went down, and then, Abdul Carter played the majority of the snaps. We saw him, get better. We saw some more production. We saw him flash the way, pause, because I see my man Jonathan Pride in the building. We saw him flash, and he was playing better at the end of the season. So I'm gonna hold off on saying that about Abdul Carter. Tibbs is close to being that. This is a big year for him. But I hope not, man. I hope these guys, I hope they play better. Iron Lion says, big up Dash. If Tibbs don't step up, he out of here. I agree with that. Now, here's the thing. I don't want him traded right now. Because a few weeks ago we saw Abdul Carter go down. It ended up being a twisted ankle, and a lot of people already jump ship. Oh man, man, you need quality depth. Don't get rid of good players in a rotational role. Go ahead with Kayvon Thibodeaux. Here's the other thing too, man, because a lot of people say, "Oh, you got to get something for him. You got to get something for him before can't just let him walk, man." How about this, man? How about this? You keep just you have edge rushers already in the building right now. At the end of the day, we had a redundant pick when it comes to Arvell Reese because you picked up Abdul Carter last year. You got edge rushers. You got guys that can step up and be edge rushers if Tibbs is no longer on the team. So with that being said, and this is just another reason, keep Tibbs. Keep Tibbs. See what kind of money he wants. Again, right now we're not paying anybody. See what type of money he wants. See where his head is at, and see if you can make something happen. Is he in the plans for the future, the short future? A 3-year deal, 3-year extension. You get rid of his money when it's time to pay Malik. When it's time to play Jackson Dart, he's that contract is off the books. Just it's not going to hurt to keep him. Now, if somebody's offering you a 2nd-round pick at the trade deadline for him, then what are we even talking about? But right now, for me, keep Tibbs. Keep Tibbs. I like Tibbs. Hardest working man on the Giants right now. Shout out to Tibbs. David Bourne says, I really believe the move of Patrick Ricard was an absolute boss move, the scariest for the NFC East opponents. You got to get through the O-line and Ricard before you get run over by Scat. Yeah. I like Pat Ricard. I like a physical run game. I love that. I like picking up Maui Noah. Just think about that. You got a pulling guard like Maui Noah, then Patrick Ricard behind that, and then Cam Scatterable behind that. I'll take it one step further than what you said. You had Patrick Ricard and Scat. I got a pulling pause, Maui Noah, Ricard after that, Cam Scatterable after that. Yeah, sign me up for that, man. Actually, we already signed up for it because that's our reality right now. Les Brown says Carter is a beast. The new DC will bring the best out of him. Yeah, I think so. I absolutely think so, man. A lot of this falls on the shoulders of the defensive coordinator, and he's already saying the right things. And we've already saw in practice, OTAs, and minicamp that the defense has been winning these practices. They try to keep it under wraps. Shout out to Dan Duggan, beat writer for the Atlantic. The defense right now is beating up on the offense. If they were blowing plays dead after would-be sacks and stuff like that, we wouldn't have pretty much any highlights for the offense for the most part. So shout out to those guys, and all defense is always ahead of the offense too. So I'm happy about that. Jim Simpson says, I think Tibbs will have a really good year. He wants his bag. That's the other thing too. For sure. D Dan says we need the depth and keeping our edges fresh is important. No, that's one of my main points too. I agree with you 100%. Stop getting rid of good players. We complain about good players leaving. Stop getting rid of them then. Why create another hole that you gotta fill? Pause. Andy Huber says Tibbs will start over Carter because of run defense. I don't think that happens this year. At least I don't think that happens early on. I think right now is, and they've said this in reports too, it's Tibbs. He's not sharing snaps with Abdul Carter. He is clearly the next guy off the bench in the rotation. So right now, Tibbs is number 3 in the rotation. It is Abdul Carter and it's Brian Burns. Again, I still say there's no real loyalty. It's going to be a short leash for a lot of these guys. And if Carter is not holding up the way he needs to hold up, as far as setting the edge and being able to stop the run and stuff like that, then you might see more Tibbs. And I love that too, because it's about true competition. The best players should play. Absolutely. Les Brown says KT will not get traded unless a good pick comes in by November. Yeah. By the trade deadline. You figure we got our bye week is in the middle of the season, around that time. Actually, no, because usually the trade deadline is in November, I believe. Right? Like early November. I think it's like right before Thanksgiving or something like that, or right after Thanksgiving. But yeah, if Kayvon Thibodeaux is playing out of his mind and the New York Giants realize that they can't afford him because now his his ticket price is going through the roof. Then he's not a part of the plan. Then that's when you make that decision to trade him. But right now, leave it alone. Leave it alone. He's saying the right things. He's showing up. He's being a good leader in the locker room. He's being a good example to all of these young players in that edge room too. Let it be, man. Let it be. MBSP 33 says Tibbs stopped the run better than 100%. 100%. That's why he was able to hold Abdul Carter off because of how well he played against the run. And that's it. Because Brian Burns was fantastic as a pass rusher. Brian Burns ain't stopping a run like that. Let's be honest, respectfully. Brian Burns is a Pro Bowl all pro caliber player. But he ain't stopping a run like that. MBSP also says Abdul rushes the passer better than Tibbs. Yeah, he's quicker, faster. He needs to settle down a little bit too, because he missed out on a lot of sacks because he didn't settle down. He got to break down and wrap up. But yeah, man, and that's the dilemma that we have right now, because I would love to have both of these guys in one, but no, they two separate players, and for the most part, they can't be on the field at the same time, and it be work, and it work. So, man, that's a good problem to have, but we still got to figure out what the solution is for it. All right, so I want to talk about Jevon Holland, man. I want to talk about Jevon Holland because he's on this list of returning players, right? So Jevon Holland, man, again, has had a disappointing year for the New York Giants, man. So I put up some of the seasons all against each other, man. And if you go back to the 2023 season, he was drafted, I believe, in 21, played 21, 22, 23 with the Dolphins, or he might have got drafted in 22. He either came out 21 or 22. But the whole point with Jevon Holland is, and then we go ahead and move this comment out the way. 2 seasons ago, this man was a top safety in the league. He got injured in 2024, but you still see his grades are pretty modest there. But if you go back to 2023, right before the leg injury, overall grade 90.4. That's insane production for safety. Ranked 3rd amongst safeties. Ranked 3rd overall as far as grades go in 2023. Coverage grade 89.9, ridiculous. Pass rush grade, he's a safety. I ain't even worried about that. Run defense grade 82.5. The man was damn near all pro. And you know what's crazy? I don't know if he made he might have been an all pro in 2023. Somebody go look that up for me because I can't look it up right now. But look at those grades. And then you go to 2024, and this is the season that he got hurt, but still got respectable grades. And then coming back after the injury, first year with the New York Giants, you see the drop-off. You see the drop-off. But the funny thing is, run defense 73.8, still good. But coverage grade 58.4, no. We can't pay you as much money as we're paying you, and your overall grade be 58.4. Coverage grade 53.0. And again, he dropped a couple. Well, he had more than 1 interception last year. 2 interceptions, I know for a fact, got called back because of penalties. So he should have had 3 interceptions. But then solo tackles 43. Total pressures 2. Okay, that's not bad even, for safety with pressures. Receptions allowed 18. Like, listen, if we can somehow get the Jevon Holland a mixture of 20, because I'm not going to say he's going to be he can get back to the guy from 2023. But if we can get a mixture somewhere, meet us in the middle, somewhere between 2023 and 2024, new defense, new defensive play caller, a better scheme that fits him. Like, can we do that? Can he get back to that? Please. Let me know what I missed, Jonathan Pride. Let me know what I missed. Thank you. I can always count on you to let me know when I missed the pause, and I've been pausing like crazy. Pause. D-Dan Shelton says Burns shut Barkley down in the Eagles game at MetLife. Don't forget. Yeah, listen, I didn't say he was trash. I'm saying consistently run stopper. No, and we don't expect that from him. But but Burns gonna step up. Burns is a player. Burns plays hurt. So hopefully I'm not. Let me be clear. Not calling Burns a bum. but he's not that against the run. And Tibbs played the run better than Burns. That's all I'm saying. And yeah, Tibbs was the best edge setting outside linebacker on the squad last year, for sure. All right, let me get back to this one. All right, so Jevon Holland got to play better. Paulson Adebo, another guy picked up, big free agency pickup. A little bit of a gamble, hoping that he comes back from injury, just like Jevon Holland did, and plays better or gets back to form. We didn't see that last year. Also, he dealt with some injuries too. He was, he missed a couple of games. I believe he only had like one interception too. Andy Hooper says Brian Burns All Pro. That's a fact. He got snubbed last year. He should have been in the runnings for Defensive Player of the Year too. I mean, he wasn't going to win it against Myles Garrett, not at all. But at least he should have been in the runnings for it. The man spent what the first 10 weeks of the NFL season as a number one or the sack leader. What? So for me, I love the way Brian Burns played. He made his money last year, earned his money last year for sure, 100%. He finally had double-digit sacks. He finally hit that benchmark, and he played very, very well, dominant. So hopefully, I'm clear when it comes to that. Kiwa says, I need Chauncey Golston to show up for real. Nah, listen, man. And that has to do with the scheme, in my opinion. He just couldn't get on the field. They couldn't find a place for him. And that's the part that sucked, too, because Chauncey Golston coming from Dallas was fantastic. Well, not fantastic. No. He was a solid player for the Dallas Cowboys. He went from a 4-3 scheme to a 3-4 scheme, and he was lost. And it wasn't his fault. He wasn't getting the snaps. When he did play later on in the year, it was better. But I definitely need I definitely need him to step up. I can put him in that same category where I can blame the DC for his lack of production. But again, at the end of the day, I need Chauncey Golston to step up, but I'm out of order right now. Paulson Adebo, though, man. I need Paulson Adebo, and maybe it's our fault because he was never the CB1 for the Saints. When we got him, he was a default CB1, and we thought we were going to get more from him. We know him as a ball hawk, a man coverage, press corner, and we didn't press. And now we got a defensive coordinator that knows what he's doing, is building a defense around the strengths of the players, and hopefully we see more production out of Paulson Adebo. Next name, Tay Banks. Tay Banks. Again, it's Tay Banks got to look somewhat like the person that we drafted and expected to be a first rounder. He was a late first rounder, but still a first rounder. Has not lived up to the hype at all. We can blame ourselves for that too, because after his rookie season, you lose X-Men. Xavier McKinney is gone. Wink Martindale is gone. And, Tay Banks ends up lost. And then, we gave him a little bit of grace early on in the second year. And then we saw the lack of effort, and that was pretty much it. Shout out to my man, Born for Sports. Born for Sports gets pissed off every time we talk about Tay Banks and the lack of effort and seeing him quit on plays. Like there's countless plays that he quit on, and not just the passing defense, against the run too. And we need better play from him. But right now, I think it might be too little, too late for Tay Banks. To be honest, you went ahead and you drafted Colton Hood. That's who needs to develop. If Tay Banks ends up doing something, fantastic for him. But for me, my expectations for Tay Banks are absolutely low. And I hope he does good, but my expectations are low. If he ends up knocking it out of the park, cool. If he ends up, really pushing for that CB2 spot, cool, because I know he's at least earned it. But definitely got to step up. And if he can return a couple kicks for touchdowns, better for him too. Next on the list, Darius Alexander. Again, we saw the grades. We saw the role that he played last year. He's definitely going to have it's a difference in the role for him. He's penciled in as a starter right now, in my opinion. Definitely got to play better. We saw him have a couple 4 sacks last year. Run defense was trash as far as his grade goes. But to me, he flashed because I saw him, shed blocks. I saw him stack and shed. I saw him do a lot of that stuff. He just needs to be more consistent, and he needs the snaps. And I do believe that Andy Hooper, Alexander could be the X factor. I think he is the X factor for this defensive line. We know what DJ Reader is. We know what we're going to get from Shelby Harris, unless old man, unless Father Time catches up to him this year. So we know that, but Darius Alexander right now is the X factor. I believe that he's an X factor. I believe Abdul Carter should be an X factor. You can kind of say Kayvon Thibodeau, but whoever the safeties going to be X factor. All these guys are going to be X factors. Should be X factors. But Darius Alexander, I think the more he plays, the better he's going to get, because we saw that last year. Just a late start, slow start for him, but he ended up pretty fast. So I like that. Andy says Tay is cooked. Might be, man. It might be too little too late, man, but we're going to hold on to hope. But the best thing is this, though, Andy, we're not depending on Tay Banks. Like last year, we were depending on Tay Banks. You know what I mean? The year before that, we were depending on Tay Banks to step up. He was the de facto CB1 in his sophomore year, and that was horrible. But, that's what I'm looking for. I'm not dependent on him. I'm just hoping for the best when it comes to Tay Banks. MBSP says we paid a corner that was a proven CB2, but hoping we did. Yes, we did. That's exactly what we did, and it didn't happen. And now we're still doing that. But he's still CB1 right now. He's still CB1, and we're hoping that the defensive coordinator has a scheme that better, that best fits him. That's it. Andy also says Colton Hood for the win. I think it's just a matter of time before Colton Hood is the starter. Also, it's a good cornerback class next year too, man. So I know Luann was talking about getting linebackers at the top of the draft, offensive line, secondary. You're probably going to look at some wide receivers too, depending on who's available, where we're picking at. At some point in time, you're probably going to look at another running back. So definitely 2020, all these drafts are going to be important. But we definitely looking. We got a lot of needs still. We improved a lot. Giants did a lot with the draft and also with free agency, but we still got a ways to go. But I'm hoping that coaching closes a lot of that gap before we can fully build out this roster. I think we're doing a great job right now. Had a good start. Kelvin Davis, what's going on? He said, "Sup, bro? Just got off. What I missed? You missed a lot, man. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. It was a defensive episode. We'll be only an hour and a half in. We still got about 30 minutes left. But definitely it was a heavy defensive stream or show. We talked about Denard Wilson. We talked about new additions, guys that we lost, projected starters. It was a pretty good show, man. At least I thought so. I thought the show was pretty good. Kiwa says, do you think the Giants sign anyone else that would start before the season? Just think about who's out there, man. There's a couple of defensive tackles prospects out there. There's some wide receiver prospects out there, but I think we're good at wide receiver right now. They're going to play things out. You still got Christian Wilkinson out there for defensive tackle. I can see him as a possible addition if you want to just keep building up that defensive line group. But I don't know if we do anything before training camp unless somebody gets hurt. But when we cut down to 53, that's going to be interesting to see if there's some casualties from other teams that we might want to pick up. I don't think we sign anybody that's going to be a starter for us unless somebody gets released. That's just a shocker. But I'm like Harbaugh said, he's never going to stop or trying to improve the roster. So we'll see what happens with that. That's a great question though. Luann says at times Tay is lazy, getting paid big bucks. Well, this is a contract year for him too. A lot of people forget that. Contract year for Tay Banks. We didn't pick up his 5th-year option. So this is a contract year for him. So yeah, we might see the best out of him too. Or he might just take this kick returning job and run with that. No pun intended. Andy Hooper says wide receiver is the biggest need. Again, we want to be proactive and not reactive. Obviously, with Malik Neighbors going down, they did trade up to get Malachi Fields. I think that was a proactive move. And I think they're high on Malachi Fields. I'm curious to see how he's used. But when you think about the rest of that wide receiver room and moving towards the future, the only guys that are on the roster beyond 2026 like Malachi Fields and Malik Neighbors. Everybody else, Darnell Mooney, 1-year contract. Calvin Austin, 1-year contract. Odell, 1-year contract. Was it like everybody? Darius Slayton got multiple years too, but we forget about Darius Slayton. Joe Ferris, man, I mentioned you early on in the show. I don't know if you were here for that, man. And I was talking about how you be doing, how you do. But I'm not. I'm not. He said, "Bless your heart, Big Dash. You was bullish again. Every summer Giants content is Groundhog's Day. Nah. I've been different this year. I've been different. I haven't spoken in guarantees. I've been waiting and seeing, and you know that too, man. You know that it's been a little bit different." He says we get sold the bridge and end up with Nathan. I am optimistic, Joe Ferris. I am. But I am not on the same level that has been the last couple of years when I should be, because at the end of the day, there's a new sheriff in town in Harbaugh, but because of the past traumas, and I'm trying to work through these traumas, but because of these past traumas, I can't allow myself to get to that optimistic level that I was at before. And with that being said, yes, I'm still bullish though. Yes, I'm still bullish. Not going to run away from that. I am still bullish, but I'm not where I was last year. I can't speak for everybody though. And I know you be making your rounds too, man. Shout out to you. Dennis Rob Toys says, Big Dash, what happened to Chapman? Chapman, I think, is on the Bengals. I think Chapman because he got released. We waived him, and I think he went to the Bengals, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's on the Bengals now. I do believe. D. Dan Shelton says, can our defense keep teams under 24 points? If the run defense steps up, yes, I think so. Because I do think the pass rushers are going to get home, and right now teams could just run on the Giants. I think if the run defense is good, if the defensive line is solid, I think you can keep teams under 20, like 24 points. That's a lot of points, man. 20 points, yeah. I would rather be there because 24 points, that means you got to put up 25 points to win a game every game. So for me, if we can hold teams to 20 points, 18 to 20 points, I think that's a good start for us. I really do. Luann says, Dash, do you believe the team will fully adjust to the new schemes and coaches right away? Defensively, yes. I'm not sure what the offense is going to look like, but Denard Wilson already said, let me go ahead and close this down. Denard Wilson already said that he's going to keep things simple. He wants people out there reading and reacting, not thinking. So I do think that they'll be able to have a good grasp on the new scheme. On defense. Now, I'm not sure exactly what this Matt Nagy offense is going to look like. I know it's going to be heavy run because that's what Harbaugh likes, but what the passing game looks like, I'm assuming West Coast offense because that's pretty much his background with a lot of play action. And we already know Jackson Dart's talking about he's doing things now that he has not been asked to do before. So that's probably going to take some time. So on the defensive side, I would say yes, it's still a zone defense. There are some blitzes, there are some stunts and stuff like that these guys have got to learn. But I think the defense is probably going to be easier to learn than the offense right now. Or I should say to execute. I'll put it that way. I don't think any of this stuff is hard to learn. I just think it's about execution. And I do think the defense has a better chance of executing Denard Wilson's defensive scheme faster than what the offense can do with Nagy's scheme. Douglas says, I blame Joe Shane. Oh, we dropped big money on two big guys with leg injuries, and we expected all pro play. I am sure we're going the same with Leak if he isn't the old Leak. I hope people are not expecting. Again, I have my expectation is for Malik Neighbors to be back by week 5. but I'm not expecting Malik Neighbors to look like Malik Neighbors in week 5, maybe week 10. Maybe when we come back off of the, maybe come back after the bye week or something like that, he starts to look more like himself. We got a ways to go when it comes to Malik, not just physically but mentally, and we keep saying stuff like that too. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Going to your point, we did pay guys coming off of leg injuries, and expecting them to bounce back. And sometimes it takes longer than a year. Maybe, hopefully, last year was that year for them to get, kind of shake the rust off, and this year they're ready to go. That's what I can hope for, but that's yet to be seen. Andy Hooper says injuries have our wide receiver room looking suspect. I mean, we only talk about 2 people. We just talking about Neighbors and Slayton. Slayton got a hernia, which he should be fine come training camp. Malik Neighbors is the biggest question mark, and that's why we brought in so many players, because we don't know exactly what's going on with Malik Neighbors. And John Harbaugh is being true to the statement that he made, where regardless if he's ready or not, we're going to be prepared. So he's throwing bodies, in the room to see, what happens. So I'm with that. I do want to talk about Tyler Nubin real quick, and then I can go back to the main screen. I did a whole video on Tyler Nubin. Shout out for the people that watched that video. I talked about Tyler Nubin, expectations, new defensive scheme. How can he get back to form and stuff like that? Can he be the guy that we expect him to be? That video's out there. Tyler Nubin definitely got to step up, because right now he is the starter next to Javon Holland. And it's sad to see this, though. Out of these guys that I have listed here that need to step up, how many of these guys are in the secondary? You got 4 guys in the secondary that need to step up, and that just pretty much tells you where we're at right now. And somebody said it earlier, the secondary is a question mark, and that is 100% true, because we don't know if Holland or Debo are ever going to get back to where they were before. And then we don't know if Tay Banks is ever going to turn into something. And Tyler Nubin is a big-ass question mark too, so we'll figure out, shortly. And I think all these guys potentially have short leashes due to the depth that we added during the offseason. Jay First, at the end of the day, it is what it is. You're not wrong. I mean, why do our content creators talk like this? We suck until proved otherwise. Nothing matters until we win the game. At the end of the day, it is what it is. You're not wrong, and I mean what I mean. You're absolutely right. You forgot to say pause and quotation marks too, but that might just be me. But no, Jerry Ferrer, no, you're absolutely right. And again, I know where you're coming from, and trust me, a lot of Giants fans are in that part of their life, not even just the season, the part of their life where they're tired of it. They're tired of it. For me, there's only certain things in life that you can be crazy about. That you can believe in wholeheartedly and be optimistically, optimistic about. And that's football at the end of the day. Because at the end of the day, football ain't even real life. It causes stress like real life does. But at the end of the day, we have no control of what the New York Giants do on the field. We just hope for the best. And that's what I translate. That's what I try to translate, here. Because if I'm doom and gloom and I'm talking about the Giants in a negative light all the time, I might as well not even do the show. What's the purpose? I don't want to talk about negative shit. Almost cursed. I don't want to talk about negatives or be negative all the time. No, because that stuff kind of rolls over into your real life. If I can be positive with the New York Giants, I can be positive in real life too. So that's my point of view, man. But I appreciate the love and support as always, Joe Ferris. You're a day one guy. Tyrone Hall says, word. Tyrone Hall also says with $2 super chat, he says, shout out to Joe Ferris. Now that's a fact. Shout out to Joe Ferris for real. He's seen ass and elbows all day. What does that mean? Well, you tell me what that means, because that is something that I have, and I know a lot of phrases. He's seen ass and elbows all day. What are we talking about? I want to know what that means. So let me know. Michael Knight in the building. What's going on, Michael Knight? How we doing, man? Stephen R says OBJ 1,000. I don't know about that, Stephen R. I don't know about that, Stephen R. I can't get on board with that. I hope for that. I hope it does happen, but I can't hop on that train. I can't. OBJ 1,000 yards. See, you know what would have happened if OBJ had 1,000 yards this year? You know that happened? If OBJ got 1,000 yards, oh boy. If OBJ gets 1,000 yards, I'll say this: he becomes the comeback player of the year. The New York Giants are on a playoff run because he's not even wide receiver 1, 2, or 3. And if he gets 1,000 yards, that's something spectacular. And that's why I said I hope for that. But I'm not. I wouldn't bet that. Not at all. Not at all. Wills, what's going on, Wills? He says not nearly as worried about the secondary guys stepping up with Wilson. If they aren't up to snuff, they won't be on the field. I do believe that too. Like these guys are going to get snatched. I think there's better depth out there. I do like Jason Pinnock as a reserve safety. I do like the pickup of our Darius Washington. I think that's a good pickup. Trying to figure out who Colton Hood is where he's gonna be, if he's gonna be CB2 or if he's gonna be the first guy in a rotational role for cornerback. I think that's good too. And then depending on who starts, whether it's Greg Newsome, whether it's Colton Hood, whether it's Tay Banks, and again, I don't believe Tay Banks, there's better depth in the room. We just got to see what the scheme is all about. Joe Ferris, give me the explanation. Just ass and elbows all day, like if you and me got in the I can listen. I'm so far past racing. You know what I mean? I'm so far past. He says when someone smokes you in a race, you just see their ass and elbows, man. I got you now. I didn't know where you were coming from. I'm not racing anybody. You see me? I'm not racing anybody. Absolutely not. No, sir. No, sir. I'm waiting to turn 50 so I can be in the 50 and over basketball league. That's what I'm waiting for. That's about my speed right now. And I got a while to get to that age, but I'm just saying that's the next step for me. Because I ain't running around with no 30 and 40-year-olds right now. No, sir, Bob. No, sir, Bob. I had a decent jumper too when I was a kid, so I might still be able to get that, but I'm not driving to the lane. I'm sorry. Andy Hoover says Washington could definitely be a surprise. I'm not. Oh, boy, I almost thought you was talking about the Commanders at first, Andy. I apologize. Now Darius Washington for me, I wouldn't call him an X factor because I don't know how many snaps he's going to get. I don't know what his role is going to be. He could be pushing Nubin. Not Nubin. Well, he'd be pushing Nubin too, but Andrew Phillips, he could be pushing for a nickel spot too. Because that's where he played. If we run a lot of nickel, if we're going to run a lot of nickel, if we run nickel with a third safety instead of a nickel back, then that's one thing we might see him more. We just haven't seen enough yet. We read a lot, we haven't seen a lot. So once preseason begins, and that's going to be pretty much vanilla too, we won't know, man. That's the hardest part for it. Pause is we really don't know. We got expectations. I got ideas. I've read up and watched Tennessee Titans games. I've read up on Denard Wilson and what he likes to do. But at the end of the day, it's a different set of players. He does match his scheme for the players. And the New York Giants roster defensively looks nothing like what the Titans had last year. So we had, like I said, we have an idea of what we could see, but we still don't know at the end of the day. We don't know. We got ideas, but we don't know for sure. And that's why I can't wait, man. Hit the fast forward button, man. Hit the fast forward button. Let's get the season started. Andy Hoover says probably Holland. What you talking about? As far as being stepping up. Joe Ferris, you can race Holland. Go ahead, you can race Holland. Go ahead, race Holland. He coming off a leg injury. Posting Debo too. Let me know. Heavy Base Hit said, what up, Dash? It's Saturday, so we outside tonight. On another note, I hope training camp is a healthy competitive battle. It will be. It will be. It's a lot of players in here that are fighting for spots still, and not just starting spots in the rotation. So I think it's going to be one of the more competitive training camps, active training camps that we've seen in a long time. And it's going to be no. I want to say no holds bars, but no, it's just going to be a healthy competition pretty much at every position outside of the quarterback. Yeah. He says, I want to race Noob and easy money. Listen, at the end of the day, he's still a pro athlete. If you can beat him, shout out to you. Shout out to you, Joe First. I don't know how old you are. I don't know what kind of shape you're in. I'm going to take your word for it, though. I believe in you. I'm cautiously optimistic that Joe Ferris can beat Tyler Nubin in the race. Easy money is what he said. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Michael Knight says, "Yo, Dash, I will be 50 in 3 years, fam." Well, I got a little more years than that to catch up to you, but yeah. But shout out to you. I know. When I was younger, and we talk about these numbers and these ages and stuff like that. Then when you get closer to those ages, you don't feel like what you thought you was gonna feel like. I still feel young at the end of the day, and some people laugh at me when I say I'm old because I'm not that old anyway. But it is what it is. Joe Ferris, and I said it again. It is what it is. What else is it? At the end of the day, I mean, pause. Says round and middle age like you, just a little bit of speed left in these legs. Shout out to you, man. Shout out to you. I'm not going to doubt you at all. Let me go ahead and switch this back. We done with the topics. Anybody that got any questions, I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability. Again, I'm just a guy on YouTube talking about the team that he loves the most. Take my answers with a grain of salt. I am somewhat informed. Did play the sport and stuff like that, so I try to answer those questions as much as possible. And I love the Giants, and I bleed blue, and we in the blue room right now. Let me go ahead and switch the background too. Let me go back to the new media photos. So there we go. There we go. All right. Tyrone Hall says our team's performance went downhill ever since training camp left Albany. Harbaugh might be on to something. Yeah, and a lot of people keep saying, oh, it's because of the World Cup. And it might be slightly because of the World Cup why we decided to move training camp. But we chose West Virginia. 500 miles, 7-hour drive. They could have went to Albany half the time. Actually, half the time for sure. But they didn't. They chose to go to West Virginia. They chose to go to the mountains. They chose to go to the Shining, the hotel from the Shining. They chose to go, and get out away from family and all this stuff and let these guys lock in and build camaraderie. That's what they decided to do, and I'm with it. To me, just like remember the Titans, man. These guys are going to go into training camp as individuals and come back as a team, and that's where I'm at with it. Shout out to Joe Ferris with the $4.99 super chat. Says unbelievable for you to call out Darius Alexander. Is this an Andy? I didn't call out Darius Alexander, did I? I just said he need to step up. Darius Alexander. You know what's crazy though? I reached out to Darius Alexander, just like I reach out to a lot of Giants players. And yeah. And I'm gonna keep on doing it, man. At one point, one time, I can get somebody on this show that's a player, Pat Hanlon. Please allow it. Because Pat Hanlon is like the Dikembe Mutombo out here, blocking people from getting on shows, man. And I understand the channel's a small channel. I got a small section on YouTube, but for me to have a small section on YouTube, this fan base is real. This Giants corner that we have here, the late night Giants talk, I think will treat these players with the respect that they deserve, and I think they would like it. But again, I'm not going to stop inviting players onto the show, but we'll see what happens. Again, and what's crazy when I reach out to them, I'm not expecting them to say yeah, sure. I'm just saying I'm not for the chance that somebody does say yes, I'm gonna be ready, to have them on the show, and I think you guys are like that too. But Pat Hanlon, if you're listening, Pat Hanlon. Stop Mutomboing, man. You're not the Dikembe Mutombo, respectfully. Robbie Garn says, actually, Dash, the weather will be cooler there as well because of the high elevation. I did see that. Humidity, though. They said it's in the mid 80s, and then at night it can drop down to like to the mid 40s, low 50s. So that is good for those guys, but that humidity is still there. It's still going to be humid as hell up there. But the weather is going to be a lot more manageable for sure. 80s is fantastic. 80s and humid. It's been a long time since I've been in a high humidity climate. I've been on the West Coast for a while now. Anthony Cherry says, Big Dash, how long do you think it would take before Malik Neighbors start to complain about the Giants running the ball too much? Malik Neighbors to me is not a shy person. He says what's on his mind. If you put a camera in front of him, He is going to talk, and we saw that even in his rookie season. I would love to say if the New York Giants are winning games, but Malik Nabers is not having the type of production that he wants, that he will just be good and go along with the ride. But I don't know. I think he wants to win first off. I do believe he's a winner. He wants to win. Ultimately, the team winner, I think, will make him happy. I don't know if it'll make him content, because I believe that Malik believes that he could produce and work towards those W's. So just get him the ball. just get him the ball. That's it. Get him the ball. Good things happen when you get Malik Nabers the ball. So just do that, so we don't have to worry about him start complaining. Now, I will say this, though. We're going to run the ball a lot, especially if we're successful. But if Malik Nabers, it ended up helping him, because that means the play action will work, and that means man-on-man coverage, one-on-one coverage for him most likely, because they respect the running game so much. Safeties will be peaking, and he has one-on-one coverage. And guess what? Jackson Dart definitely going to throw him the ball. So I do believe in that. Joe Ferris says, I'm so cooked. Darius Alexander reached out to Darius Alexander. This world is twisted at the end of the day. We already debunked that. I don't look nothing like Darius Alexander. I don't. Not even close. That's an ongoing joke. I look better than Darius Alexander. And I'm 20 years older than Darius Alexander. Shout out to Darius Alexander. My bad, Darius. My bad. We'd love to have you on the show. And then we can have that joke in person. Isaac Moore, what's going on, man? How you doing? Robbie says, I did a super secret selection course with the Army up there. Okay, so you know that is nice. The mountains ain't no joke. Woohoo. Okay. So the weather is nice. It's not as hot as we thought it was going to be. You said a super secret selection course with the Army. So what we talking? Delta Force? Robbie, you Delta Force or something? We don't know it. What else is super secret selection for the Army? You got Delta Force, Green Berets. Green Berets are the Army too, right? That's not the Marines. I know Delta Force is the Army. Green Berets, I think, are the Army. You ain't got to tell us too much. We keep it, Robbie. Your business is your business, Robbie. I'm good with that, and I love the profile picture too, because you're running with a small dog in your hands, and it looks like you're the happiest man on the planet right now. Delta Force is the Navy? I got to go back to thinking about the movie Delta Force. So the Navy got the SEALs and Delta Force? Damn. Okay, that's cool. Isaac says, you think Leak will talk his way out of the next contract? Put it this way, Isaac. Giants need another wide receiver, because to me, it's a wild. Malik Nabers is the wild card. It can go a lot of different ways. We don't know if he's going to ever look like the old Malik Nabers. We don't know if he's going to look even better, and then want $60 million a year, or 40. What are wide receivers making now, in the 40s? So my plan would be the New York Giants be proactive, have expectations of re-signing Malik Nabers, but draft wide receivers almost every year until it's time to resign Malik Nabers, and after that too. That's what I would say in that situation. I don't know what to expect from Malik Nabers. Wild card, absolute wild card. Stephen R said he's a super spy. Okay, he might be. Listen, he might be. Robbie says, I can tell you that I'm retired. See, there we go. Tried out for the 500-pound. What, I don't even know what the 500-pound gorilla means. Navy has SEALs. Delta is Army. Okay, Delta is the Army. Okay, Delta is the Army. Green Berets, huh? Salute to you. Thank you for your service. You said you're a Green Beret. I don't want no smoke with my man Robbie. I'm glad Robbie is on my side when it comes to the New York Giants. And guess what, Robbie? Retired or not, if I ever need you for anything, I'm going to hit you up. Oh, man, shout out to my man Robbie. Listen, you're the first Green Beret I ever met. Even though it's virtually. First Green Beret I ever met. I only saw you guys on TV and in movies. So shout out to you. And I mean that, no jokes. Thank you for your service. And any other people in the chat watching, whatever, that are, retired or active duty, thank you for your service, man. I know sometimes, some people can seem ungrateful. I am grateful for your service. I appreciate what you do to keep this country safe and to go out there and protect us and stuff like that, fight for us and all that other stuff. I got some people in my family, Navy, Uncle BK, Army veteran too. So shout out to all the servicemen. And again, thank you for your service. Douglas Rice says, Dash, West Virginia. I'm not happy. I had plans to see family in JC. Okay, this summer. I know the Dubs. What's is there? But oh, I got you now. I had family in Jersey City this summer. I know there's going to be what Dubs say is the best, but damn, yeah. It's a big change. It's a big difference. Now, listen, it's only going to be the first couple of weeks they're going to be in West Virginia. At some time, they got to return back to MetLife. Won't be any open practices and stuff like that, but at least they're still playing their games in MetLife. But the first game was the Vikings' first game. That's at home, and then we go to Miami, and then the last game. Who's the last game? Is it the Patriots again? Who's the last game? Is it the Jets? It might be the Jets again, right? Got to be the Jets, right? But we're not doing a practice with them. And then I heard that the joint practice with the Dolphins is only one day, which soft for the Dolphins. And the Dolphins made that decision, not the Giants. 1 day joint practice. I understand why they don't want guys getting hurt because we know how active it can get in those joint practices. Damn violent. We remember Detroit, New York. Malik Neighbors throwing fisticuffs. Funny enough, Terrion Arnold was the guy that broke that up. And we see the situation that he's in right now. So, so that's a life lesson for a lot of these players out there. For those that don't know, obviously Terrion Arnold got arrested for robbing the people or trying to rob the people that he thought robbed him first. And I would say to all the players out there, you are no longer in the streets, I should say you shouldn't be in the streets, and you should think differently. And if you got robbed and you believe that you found the people that, robbed you allegedly, call the police. You make too much money, young fella, to be sitting in jail now when you should be preparing for the 2026 season. And with the never mind. I don't want to speak on. I already said too much. Heavy bass hit. All right. I'm curious. The name selection. He says, "You right, Dash. It's the Army Delta Force." Had to double check myself. Yeah, I'm listen. And trust me, my earliest memory of the Delta Force is Chuck Norris, the movie, and I believe that's the Army. And we was right. I got a question for people. And we always go off the rails during the last part of the show. Predator. The movie Predator. Was that Delta Force? Was Arnold Schwarzenegger and them guys Delta Force? Somebody that can remember better than I can. The movie Predator, was that Delta Force? I'm curious. Robbie is Rambo. Oh, man. Again, for those, man, listen, the season finale of the show From is tonight. I don't know how many people in the chat watch that show. I'm excited for that. And then again, House of the Dragons tomorrow night. If you watch TV shows, Man on Fire on Netflix is fire. I Will Find You on Netflix is another show that's out there. That's fire too. I watch a lot of shows. I watched both of those seasons in 2 days. Binge watched both of those series in 2 days. So yeah, good shows on Netflix for those that like good shows. He talked about Keith Sweat. Oh boy. Anthony Cherish says you're welcome. Listen, thank you for your service. I really do mean that. What he says, thank you to that. I will definitely be there for you no matter what. If you ever in SoCal, hit me up and I'll buy you some Chili's. That's what we do, the Chili's, huh? Listen, I like Chili's. Isaac Moore says, I'm from Bayonne. Shout out to Bayonne, man. In high school, we used to whoop on Bayonne, man. Shout out to the Fighting Farmers. One of my best friends, he had family in Bayonne, man. Shout out to my man Patrick Moore. But that, like I said, growing up in it's so many cities in New Jersey, right? And I just remember like I couldn't even pronounce Bayonne right when I first saw it. I don't know what I said, but Bayonne, obviously New Jersey has some of the craziest names for cities. But shout out to you, Isaac, and shout out to Bayonne, New Jersey. And in Bayonne, the school colors are the same as the Fighting Farmers. That maroon and white, if I'm not mistaken. I believe Bayonne is maroon and white too, or burgundy and white too, because we were burgundy white. Is it Caillou Brad Pitt 123? That's a hell of a name. He says, Robbie, what was your listen? Don't share that information, man. We don't know. We don't know. Luann says it's a shame that Neighbors got hurt so early in his career. Cruz wasn't the same after his torn. Now he it was a patella tendon for Cruz. It was a patella tendon for him. Yeah, man. But he wasn't the same. He already had that chip though. All right, man. So we are past the 2-hour mark here. BX Universe says Army Rangers. Shout out to all the servicemen in the building, servicemen and women in the building. Again, thank you for your service. And thank you guys for your love and support of the channel, too. And shout out to the New York Giants having so many service members as fans. All right. It's over. Yeah, man. But no, tell me, was Predator, it was Special Forces. There we go. Special Forces. But Special Forces can mean a couple things, all right? It is what it is. It is. Netflix has the best documentaries. It does. It does. All right, man. Okay. And I do see Robbie didn't answer the question by Kuya. Okay. But again, I appreciate everybody for vibing tonight. Again, we are in this in a long night where there's no real Giants news, but still you guys support the show and hang out for late night Giants talk, every week. And I do appreciate that more than you guys know. Make sure you guys hit the like button if you haven't already hit the like button. Have a safe night and a good rest of your weekend. And with that being said, I want to thank everybody for vibing with me. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And from one Giants fan to another, this is Big Dash Knows Big Blue Nation. Let's go.